Picture books. Let's talk about picture books. Picture books are not actually a genre. Picture books are a format of book. A picture book, obviously, is going to have illustrations or pictures. Most picture books that we think of will have big, beautiful, glossy illustrations that help tell the story along with the words that we're reading. And picture books can be of any genre. Poetry books can be picture books. Biographies can be picture books. Modern fantasy, folklore. In fact, many of the books you're reading of every genre will include some kind of picture book. So let's take a little bit of time here and look at the different types of picture books that there are. The first kind is an ABC book. And alphabet books were one of the earliest varieties of illustrated books for children. And when they were first written, their common purpose was to teach and to reinforce the letters of the alphabet. A is for apple, B is for ball, C is for cat, those kinds of books. And some people might also say that we can use this variety of books to introduce phonics and phonic generalizations to children. But when we do so, we have to be careful what books we choose. And there's 3 criteria that will help us choose a correct book for teaching phonic awareness to children. One is that the words used to represent each letter must begin with a common sound generally associated with the letter. In other words, if you have A, don't use the word ark, because that's not a common sound for A. Elephant for E doesn't work either. That's not a common sound for E. An owl for O. That's not a common sound. Now, perhaps we're teaching sight words. Those would work perfectly well, but not for teaching the sounds of the words. But today, ABC books and alphabet books are not used so much to recognize letters of the alphabet, but to express that alphabet in creative ways, and perhaps even enrich children's vocabularies. Some books like Susie McDonald's Caldecott Honor Book, Alphabetics, shows each letter going through an amazing acrobatic metamorphosis. E tips and turns and mutates until it becomes the legs of an elephant. Stephen Johnson's Alphabet City is as much a look at cities as it is an alphabet book. And then a gorgeous book, excuse me, the tickle in my throat, that took 25 years to complete is The Butterfly Alphabet by Sandved, and it shows each letter of the alphabet appearing in the actual design of the wing of a butterfly or a moth. And it's actual photography. It's really beautiful. And that is by Sandved, S-A-N-D-V-E-D. So if you want to check that out, that's a really neat alphabet book. So alphabet books or ABC books can be used to teach letter recognition, sight words. If you choose the correct alphabet books, it can be used to teach phonetical awareness. It can also just be used to express the alphabet in creative ways. Another kind of book similar to the alphabet book and one of the earliest types of picture books are counting books. Counting books usually teach children how to count from 1 to 10. Also teaches number recognition. What does 1 look like? What does 2 look like? In the M&M's book, we have pictures of, there's one M&M on the page, the word 1, the number 1. So it's teaching actual mathematical concepts to a very young child. So unlike alphabet picture books, counting books do help children learn basic numbers and give them counting practice. Some books do go beyond 10, but most counting books, picture book format, stick with the numbers 1 through 10, and sometimes including 0. Concept books and informational books. These are our non-fiction, I'll call them, picture books. These are a lot of, probably those of you who work in an elementary school, a lot of your non-fiction books are these kinds of books. Like this is a great book by David Schwartz, How Much is a Million? It uses words and pictures to help children understand the concept of what a million is. Another book by Tana Hoban, Is It Red, Is It Yellow, Is It Blue? Reinforces the knowledge of colors. A book another book by Hoban, written in 2000, Cubes, Cones, Cylinders, and Spheres. Teaches about shapes. And so these books are ones that just take a specific concept, focus on it, and help children understand it. So it's helping children understand information around them. Then there's participation books. Participation books are those books where you want to join in on the fun. And the first one that popped in my head was We're Going on a Bear Hunt. That book. Going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a bear, and there's things for the kids to do while, you have actions and those kind of things as they're going through it. Another one that I think of is The Very Hungry Caterpillar, because as you're reading through the book, there's the different holes and the different places that the caterpillar reads through. I know my kids used to love to participate with that. Another one that we used to have fun with was 10 Little Monkeys Jumping on the Bed. And, the rhyme and the laughter as we were, one fell off and bumped his head kind of thing. So these are the books that make you want to get in on the action. And the the cover I have here is for each peach, pear, and plum, and it's kind of almost an I Spy book, and those are great too. I Spy books, Where's Waldo? These are all participation books. But in each peach, pear, plum, it goes through the common fairy tales that we know. Three Bears, Three Billy Goats Gruff, Little Red Riding Hood, and goes through those, and the each page is so full of images that there's things that you're supposed to look for within those images. So it kind of takes you through those fairy tales and those stories that we know about, and lets you participate in the action. So these are those books that say, hey, come in and get involved with me. Then there's the wordless picture books. And wordless picture books are just that. They're just books full of pictures, but those pictures tell a story. And you might ask, well, what's the point of having a wordless picture book? Well, wordless picture books allow the young reader to develop their own story and to learn just by looking at the pictures. They can also be a vehicle for teachers for practicing the language experience approach. You can write your own text, dictate it, read it, reread it, see how words fit together, and then make it a creative writing experience, or just simply, getting lost in the story that you're creating yourself. And this book Flotsam was a Caldecott winner, and it's a really, really good book. Another one that we've read here at my house is about the Three Little Pigs. And it's a wordless picture book, and that's a lot of fun as well. So wordless picture books allow you to tell the story. And then there's the predictable books. These are the books that rhyme, show patterns. These are the books that repeat language, and a lot of times these are the books that when you read them, a lot of times they're our kids' favorites sometimes, and we read them over and over enough that our children memorize those patterns and can predict what's coming on the next page or the next word, and so it's almost as if they're learning, well, not as if, but they're learning to read by recognizing those patterns. So these are some of the earliest beginning reader kind of picture books. They're predictable. And one of the favorites here, Brown Bear, Brown Bear. Brown Bear, Brown Bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. And as we know, each page asks the brown bear what he sees. And he sees something different each time. So that repetitive brown bear, what do you see? Children start to recognize that set of words, and then as they move through the book, they can read that book to themselves. Sometimes we can, authors can fall into, bad writing using these. But there are some really good, predictable books, like Brown Bear. He also has, Polar Bear, Panda Bear, all of that. Three Billy Goats Gruff, Little Red Hen, Monkey See, Monkey Do, Caps for Sale is a really good book. We just have to keep in mind that as we're choosing these kind of books, to make sure that because they're predictable and repetitive, we also need to keep in mind those characteristics of what makes a good, well-written book. Because we have a well-written book that also is predictable. These predictable books are ones that have patterns and help children learn to read. Then we have the beginning reader picture books. And these are books for independent readers that also include illustrations. And a great example here is Frog and Toad Are Friends. As you read the book Frog and Toad Are Friends, there are great and beautiful illustrations. But the text inside the story is easier to read for those beginning independent readers. The Cat in the Hat, Little Bear, Henry and Mudge books, Nate the Great books, Hank the Cowdog, those kind of books that incorporate pictures and story allow beginning readers to be independent and read, but also have images to help them with contextual clues and to be even better independent readers. But we still have to be careful with these because there are some beginning readers that are of less quality that, again, like when we talked about what a good book is, that our students are going to like but aren't the greatest quality. And then also some that are bad quality and that our students won't like at all. So always keep in mind as you're choosing books of any format and any kind to choose books that are well written. And now we have the picture storybook. And these are the most plentiful and the most popular. When you go to pick a picture book, most of us pick a storybook. And picture storybooks just do that. They tell a story using words and pictures. And one of my favorite is Fancy Nancy, because just because I have great memories of reading it with my daughters when they were younger, and the touching, heartfelt stories of being a small girl and things she goes through with her family, that and teaching some vocabulary in the process is just a lot of fun. Make Way for Ducklings, The Polar Express. These are the books we usually think of when we're choosing our Caldecott Award winners, because the Caldecott Award winners for the best illustrated book, and usually they are the illustrated picture books, and have beautiful illustrations and great stories. Where the Wild Things Are. These timeless pieces of literature that have beautiful images that go along with the stories that they're telling. Then we have engineered books, and these are those fun books, pop-ups, pull tabs, and lift and flaps, and they're the ones we want to keep away from our 2-year-old because they're going to rip them to shreds. We save them for our upper elementary kids because they can enjoy and appreciate when they open, this book, Encyclopedia Prehistorica, all about dinosaurs, and each page you open up and has these beautiful pop-ups, paper engineered pop-ups of the different dinosaurs, and teaches the kids about these different kinds of dinosaurs. There's Paul Zelinsky's The Wheels on the Bus, which is written in 1990. Animates that song, The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round, by using, the bus door swinging open, the wheels move, the windshield wipers, and all that stuff. So there's all sorts of different books that are engineered. And the very, what's the Firefly book by Eric Carle? Very Lonely Firefly. If you have that one, it lights up with the fireflies. The Very Quiet Cricket. At the end of the book, I'll give a teaser here, or spoiler alert. And when you get to the end of The Very Quiet Cricket by Eric Carle, there's a sound engineered into the book, and it makes the cricket noise. So these are books with some kind of a physical structure that makes them more than just a book where you turn the pages. And then the final category of this format of book are the baby books, or the board books. These are those books that'll have outlasted your kids chewing on them and spilling milk on them and drooling on them. And there's a little caption here: surviving teeth and drool while introducing stories to the very youngest. And Mrs. Wishy-Washy was one of our favorites. And wishy-washy, wishy-washy. Everybody's got to take a bath. Even though they get muddy, she comes out and makes them take a bath again. And when she goes back inside, they all get back in the mud. So it's a really fun story, but it's a board book, so that little ones can open it and close it, and they can't rip the pages. So they're the kind that will survive those stories. And a lot of our classic stories, we have Goodnight Moon, we have Guess How Much I Love You, and a few others here at my house that they took and printed in board book format, so that the youngest could manipulate and look at those pictures of those classic stories as well. And the board book was established as a type of picture book in 1981 when Helen Oxbury wrote, there's 5 different titles. One's dressing, family, friend, playing, working, and they're just little informational books with different pictures on each page that babies and toddlers can look at about those different topics. But they can chew on them and mutilate them, and nothing, pretty much indestructible. So those are the different formats or not formats, but different kinds of picture books. And remember, picture books is not actually a genre in itself. Picture books can be part of any genre. But picture books can be defined as books that use images to help tell a story. So as you're choosing picture books to read, make sure you choose ones that are well written and have good quality illustrations that match and go along with what the story is trying to tell. So enjoy reading picture books, and we will talk more about how picture books fit into the other genres when we begin talking about those.